Good morning, everyone. This is Jack from Jack's Literary Corner. I am Jack or Jackie. It is Top 5 Wednesday time. If you are new to Top 5 Wednesday, it is a group created by Ginger Reads Lady and Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. And it's currently hosted by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. And it is a Goodreads group where they give us bookish related topics, and we will pick each Wednesday of the month. We will pick our top 5 for that particular topic. And this week's topic is your top 5 favorite books featuring paranormal. Oh wait, no. Your top 5. Sorry, I got these mixed up when I wrote them down in my notes. Your top 5 favorite monsters. Oh, I didn't finish it. I don't have a 5th one. Crap. Okay, so. Oh well, I'm gonna do the best I can. Okay, so. My number 1 favorite monster was also on last week's topic, and that was Pennywise the Clown from It, who is a shapeshifter. Where's the book? Where did I put it? Crap, where did I put it? Dang it. Oh, here it is. This guy will take whatever form you are afraid of. He haunts this one town of Derry, Maine, and he will take whatever form scares you the most, particularly for kids. So, first of all, I like the idea of shapeshifting. I think that's a really cool concept. Except for, I don't like Supernatural. I think it's kind of gross what they do on the show Supernatural, where the shapeshifters will actually shed their skin like a snake. It's kind of creepy and gross. But, although it makes sense, But this is so scary. I mean, it's so scary because this creature will take whatever form you are most afraid of. So, yep, so this is my number 1. Of course, as always, this is not in any particular order. Okay, so let's see. Next is number 2 is, where's the book? Are the shadow animals from this particular series. Although now it's actually a trilogy. But now, as you can see, I haven't finished the book yet. But these guys I've gotten pretty far in it. And the shadow animals are really cool. They can take the fear away from you. They can suck the fear out of you. And they will take whatever animal form you want them to take. And I just think it's a really cool idea. And, the fact that this creature can talk to you and can take the fear away from you is just so, awesome and kind of comforting, too, to know that this animal will protect you and will take the fear, or at least not protect you, per se, but they will take away your fear. And it can help you be able to face your fears and defend it. Although some people, one of the characters in this book sees that it is not the best thing to take away your fear. But sometimes you need that done, especially in fantasy stories. Sometimes it helps, or in war stories or something. Or maybe even a horror story, the idea of something taking your fear away from you is very helpful because it will make you, be able to stand up and fight without being afraid. But then, of course, the negative is that sometimes that, having your fear taken away from you makes you reckless and will make you do stupid things. So, I don't know if that's going to be proven in this book, but I do like the concept of the shadow animals. I think they're really cool. Okay, next one is dragons, and this is one of the handful of books that I now have about dragons. This is actually a third book, I think, in a series. Oh no, the fourth book. Actually, no, I just read the third book. So I haven't, yes, I have a bookmark here, but I haven't even started reading this one yet. But personally, I think dragons are so cool. I mean, I've always loved the idea of dragons. I feel like I haven't read enough books about dragons. But they're fire-breathing, huge beasts that you can ride on their backs. They're big and fierce and strong, so they can protect you. And they can squirt fire at your enemies. And they're just so majestic and beautiful. And I just love the idea of having a pet dragon. I wish people could, but of course I don't know where I keep them though, because they have very limited space. You know? I have nowhere to keep the dragon. I mean, I guess I could keep them in the garage. You know, but it depends on how big they get. But then my parents couldn't park their cars in the garage. In the backyard, he'd be pretty, if he gets big enough, he'd be pretty noticeable. And, when he's sitting up, he or she is sitting up. So, so I don't know what I would do if dragons were real and if I had a pet dragon. I don't know. But I would love to have one. Ride one to work, and keep a dragon in the back of Harris Teeter. And use the dragon to scare customers that were being dumb. Or being rude. But yeah, it's like, someone should write a story about that, like a modern story that takes place in urban fantasy where someone gets a pet dragon. I mean, I'm sure there is one out there somewhere. I mean, I know there's I think Sherilyn Kenyon, some of her series involve, I think, people that are dragon shapeshifters, like they can turn into a dragon. But I think it was, But I think it would be really funny if someone wrote an urban fantasy set in our world where the person, not where they go to a fantasy medieval inspired world, but there's a dragon here in our. They have a Charmed episode where Piper Hollowell's son, who's, spoiler alert, has 2 boys. Her son conjures a dragon from the TV. So there's one episode where you kind of have that dealt with, but I want a whole book about that. But anyway, I mean, maybe I should write it instead of saying I want that. I should be the one to write it, but I don't know. I kind of want to do actual fantasy worlds or historical fiction, but I mean, it would be a lot easier to do one in our world with a dragon, bringing a dragon to our world. But anyway, so, yeah, this is the 4th book of series about a dragon. Avion is what the 2nd book is called. That's right. I can't remember what the title of the 2nd book is called. But anyway, I just think dragons are such a cool creature. They can be scary, but they also can be beautiful and majestic. And they can be like dogs. They're like pet dogs, except for really big and they can breathe fire. Okay, so that one, and the next, number 4, and hopefully I'll come up with the 5th one, is fairies, and I'm going to go ahead and show you this as my example of fairies. Although the series is not my favorite anymore, fairies. This is the Sarah J. Maas's version of Fae. I would show you something like The Cruel Prince, but I don't have it because it was a library book, so I eventually had to return it. But I love the concept of fairies, whether it's someone's own creation of fairies, like what Sarah J. Maas does, or the original Fae, Celtic mischief makers that are kind of small and either they're wicked and evil, or they're just little tricksters that necessarily don't intend evil. They just intend to mess with you and play tricks on you. And Sarah J. Maas's fairies, they're humanoid, they just have magical powers, and they are immortal, and some of them, I don't know if some of them would have wings or not. I don't think there's no mention of wings or anything in this in her stories. But like I said, this is the 5th book in the Friend Glass series. I have not read it yet. I still want to finish out the series, even though I've fallen out of love with the series. But I do want to get to Tower of Dawn, so I'm going to read this book and then get to Tower of Dawn, because Kale is one of my favorite characters, despite, I know a lot of people stopped liking him after what happened at the end of Crown of Midnight, and then how he is in Queen of Shadows and Heir of Fire. People were not happy with his character, but I am still a loyal fangirl to Kale, and I would still marry him and want to have his babies. But anyway, Sarah J. Maas, I gotta admit, her fairies are pretty badass and cool. But I also like Holly Black's interpretation of fairies. I have not read The Darkest Part of the Forest yet, but I did read, The Cruel Prince, obviously. The only time I haven't liked fairies is I did not like how in Charmed the fairies were just cutesy and pretty and wearing pink and, the cute little, the cutesiness. I don't like cutesiness. And maybe that's because as I'm getting older, I don't like cutesy as much anymore. In certain cases, I want the fairies to be, closer to the Celtic version of fairies, where they're mischief makers and they're tricksters, and sometimes they're very evil and creepy, and, and even the ones that are kind of good, that or at least won't kill you, that's, I like. And I also like Cassandra Clare's version of the Fae, the Sealy Court. Her fairy's like the queen of the Fae. She looks like a little girl, at least in the show anyway. The book, I don't remember how she's described, but, I didn't think of her as a little girl, so I'm guessing she isn't described as a little girl in the book. But in the show she is, and I think I like the idea of how she looks like an innocent little girl, but she's not a little girl. She's actually an ancient Fae. But anyway, so fairies, I think fairies are cool. Okay, now let's see. Okay, I don't have a 5th one. Let's see, what's a 5th one that I like? 5th paranormal creature. I guess I'll just go with the traditional vampires. 1 second. Okay, so I guess I'll go with traditional, my old favorite, and that's vampires. I mean, they're immortal. They can move really fast. And they're really strong, and they're really eternally beautiful. So not only can they live forever, but they're really beautiful. And so vampires are just so badass. I still kind of hold a torch for vampires. Although I've kind of moved on from the vampire thing, and I don't like reading as many books that are about vampires. Although I think there was a Vampire in the Graveyard book by Neil Gaiman. I think the boy's guardian ghost was actually not a ghost, but a vampire, because he was neither living nor dead. So he wasn't a ghost. But anyway. So I think he was, and he was described as incredibly pale. So I think he might have been a vampire. And maybe he was going hunting or something. And that's why, he would disappear sometimes. But anyway. Vampires, I still kind of hold a torch for them. I used to love, back when, and yes, I was a fan of Twilight. Not a Twihard, but I did like Twilight, and I was Team Edward at the time, when I was a teenager. I've since come to realize that both Edward and Jacob aren't much choices in the matter, because they're both control freaks. One of them's they're both kind of stalkerish and obsessive possessive of Bella, and it's very, sad that she's in such a mental state that her only options are 2 creepy control freaks. Like, she wants love so bad that when she gets it from these guys, I feel bad for her that those are her options, I mean, although I guess I could have said aliens too. But anyway, I'm sick of the vampires. They are just, they're still kind of cool. And I remember there was a time when I liked coming up with the backstory for vampires. Like, I wanted to include vampires in the fantasy novel I was going to write someday, which I still have not written because I have no discipline whatsoever. I get distracted way too easily. I know it's my own fault. I let myself get distracted. I don't discipline myself at all. The only thing I can say in my defense is because it's not like there's any deadline or anything. It's not like anyone's expecting, yes, I always feel guilty every time I tell someone about, like, how I want to be an author someday, and I just haven't written any books. I haven't written anything down. I've attempted to write stuff down and, type up documents of chapters, and nothing ever comes of it. And I do feel bad, but there's not, like, I'm not going to get a bad grade. There's no deadline. I'm not going to lose money. I'm not going to get fired or anything like that. So it's like there's no really major consequences. The closest to consequence I'm going to get that will be is, regret. And, like, wishing I had worked on it more, and disciplined myself more. Other than that, there's not going to be any consequences. So despite the reward I'll get if I ever, and I can make enough money, and if I ever publish a book and made enough money that I wouldn't have to work, But anyway, I would love coming up with the creative backstories for the characters, for the vampire characters. It was always so fun because you go kind of historical with them and their background. Even if it was set in a modern time, you could come up with a historical background, like that they maybe died in this year, and that they were from this time, and they had this kind of job, and all this kind of, and it was just so fun to come up with the backstory. And like I said, they are immortal, they are eternal. Not only do they live forever, they are eternally beautiful, and they are super strong and super fast. The only downside is that they can't go out in the sun. In the original version of vampires, they would turn to dust if they were hit by direct sunlight. But in a lot of modern young adult stories, the sunlight just irritates them. Or, like, in the case of Twilight, it makes it clear that they're vampires. And yes, I know people don't like how they sparkle in Twilight, but my only defense for Stephenie Meyer in that case is that she was trying to show that their skin was ice cold and hard like diamonds. And yes, diamonds, you're thinking feminine here, and it like ruins how badass vampire the Cullens are supposed to be, but it's her choice. That's what she chose to do. She was trying to show that their skin was ice cold and as hard as diamonds, because when you shine light on a diamond, it creates a rainbow coloring. So that's why she chose to do that. Now, people may hate it, but it's her choice. And the woman is making a lot of money from the Twilight books. I mean, there's been movies, and it has made the town of Forks, Washington really popular, although I'm sure the people of Forks are like, great, more Twilight fangirls are coming to visit, woohoo, but, yes, it's not gonna go, either way, she's made a lot of money. She's done really well for herself, and she doesn't have to write another book if she doesn't want to, although I think she should consider writing more books to get away from Twilight, but it's her choice, of course. But anyway, so, or, you have to, like, there's some, in, like, the Vampire Diaries, the only protection from sunlight is, like, sunlight burns, like, the vampires in Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the vampires in the Vampire Diaries, but they have, like, like, rings and gems in certain ways that they can protect themselves, that they can wear, so that they can go out in the sunlight, but it won't affect them. And then, like, Even in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV series, not the movie, not the 80s movie, but the original TV series, there was, in season 4, it was the Gem of Amara was introduced in one of the episodes, which could protect vampires from sunlight and kind of made them, I think it kind of made them human temporarily. I think. Or wait, or no, maybe that's something different. The thing that made Angel human temporarily, but he had to. Oh wait, no, I was thinking about the episode when the powers that be granted him the chance to be mortal again. So back to the Gem of Amara, I think it protected them from vampires could go out in the sunlight thanks to with the gem, wearing the gem. So anyway, so yeah, either way, I mean. So the other thing is that they can't, yes, they can eat human food if they wanted to, but mostly they rely on blood. And people see them as monsters, so it's like, although, maybe a guy, if I became a vampire, a guy would fall in love with me, like people like Bella and, and Buffy, and I'm trying to think of all the... Oh, and the problem with the Buffy version of vampires, your face will change when you go in vamp mode. Your face changes, so you literally look like a monster. But anyway, or a demon. Other than that, I think vampires do have their perks. Have a lot more perks than negative stuff, than cons. But anyway, I still kind of think vampires are a cool paranormal creature. And I will, I still kind of hold the torch for them. So anyway, so those are my top 5 favorite paranormal creatures in books, or in some cases in movies and TV shows. So what are your top 5 favorite paranormal creatures? Or just, you don't even have to do top 5, you can do top 10, or you don't even have to do a set number, or, or you can just pick one favorite, but I'm sure most people don't just have one favorite paranormal creature. I mean, maybe they do, I don't know. But, or monster. Actually, monster, I should say. Yeah, favorite monster. Which, by the way, in the description she said, it doesn't have to be like a monster, like an evil monster. It can be like a creature or something. But anyway, so if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and click subscribe, and if you haven't already, and be sure to click the bell icon below if you are interested in keeping up with my videos and when I update my videos. And I hope you are enjoying your reading. If you're reading some certain kinds of books like Victorian literature this month, or Halloween-esque books, I would love to know that as well. And I will talk to you all later. Alright, bye!